Thank you. All right, hi everyone. My name is John. I work at a little incubator called Aquino in Pier 38, but that has nothing to do with this. I have a beer in one hand and a pre in the other.
Yes.
Of course, everyone cares more about this, which is part of the problem. I launch many harebrained schemes on a weekly basis, and one of the ones I've been kicking around for a while is probably one of the ones that's easiest, or at least insane to implement. That being basically a problem of solving what is the fundamental problem for this delightful little phone, the Pre. That being is that it's essentially. Oh, do you have one too?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
All two of you, right?
What it's really like, it's basically, it's like using a Mac in the 90s before all you posters started doing it. Like, got a great operating system, phenomenal, and I say that as somebody with an iPhone in my other pocket. But you've got no software, like pretty much at all. And there's always a question, oh, are they about to go out of business? I want this app. And again, it's like being a Mac user in the 90s. I was there. It was a good time. And so, of course, back in the 90s, we didn't really have much going on in the interwebs. It was all kind of in its early days. But now there's this marvelous phenomenon known as crowdfunding. And what I'm hoping to do is get all of these, in this room there's 2 free users, which is probably above average percentage-wise. And in this city alone, there's thousands. In the world, maybe even 2,000. I want to get these people because a lot of them individually will say there are all these great apps that you guys all use and love, and I use and love in this pocket. And there are things like Skype and WhatsApp and Kik, and things that you want/need and depend on, but aren't available on this. And people who heart their Pre would say, yeah, sure, I'd give 99 cents to, contribute to this app's development, stuff like that. And multiply that one person by several thousand people, and then you've got a chunk of money that actually matters. The reason these developers, don't develop for that, given their limited resources, is not that they just hate the Pre. It's really just that, they've got limited resources. How do they know they're going to make a profit, or even break even, if they would have developed the app for the Palm? So what I want to do is solve that problem by getting all these people together, crowdfund it, putting people to pledge. By the way, the tentative name is called Palm Pledge, although people pointed out that there's a lot of potential with pre-order. And so you get all these together, then you can go to the the developer of WhatsApp, Kik, whatever, and say, here's a giant sack of money if you develop this app that we all want. And again, I can't code for crap, but I'm told that it's very easy to code for. At least that's what Palm says. So I'm going to take their word for it and say, yeah, it's easy to develop. Just go for it. Here's money, and then problem solved. I mean, everyone just gives a little teeny tiny bit of money. They get their app. World peace ensues. So I like the idea because unlike most of my other ideas, it's the easiest I think to implement. I've been talking with some crowdfunding companies like Rocket Hub and some French one I can't pronounce, Ululu or I don't remember, Lulu, whatever. It's there. It's French. Talking with them, you say, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel myself, can I just kind of use your thing as a white label, powered by your company, and then hopefully meet someone in Palm who would be down for this. There are some roadblocks like. I need to get a promo code for everyone who donates so they can then get their app once it's built. But beyond that, there's no real roadblocks, except of course for all the roadblocks you guys are about to tell me. So, go for it.
Do you ever talk to developers? So on the other side, you can almost have developers say, I'll build this if 500 people will pay $2 or $5 for it. And then you can have like, I built it for the iPhone, I'll build it for Palm, Android, and BlackBerry for whichever one is like.
Right. I mean, that's like the goal, the way the site, there would be a site, Palm Pledge or pre-order dot whatever, and it would say, you can't just randomly declare it. Like, I or some representative of my non-existent organization would go to these developers and say, realistically, like, how much would it make it to be worth your while? Like, what's the cost of a developer for however many weeks it takes to develop this? Say, I don't know what, $5, $10, $500 million. Whatever they say, we say, okay, then you bust out the old high school fundraiser thermometer style thing, and say this is the amount we need. Once this amount is raised, then boom, it can happen.
I think you'd actually do it the opposite. You would have the people who are interested in certain free applications would go on the site and say, I'm interested in this application. If you have enough people that say, yeah, I'm interested in that too, then developers also go to the site and they say, okay, you've got enough people, I'll do it for this amount of money. Some other developer says, I'll do it for this amount of money, and you get that combination there. And then finally,
Right. That's exactly what I want, is a
Right.
combination. That being, there's some top tier apps. I'd say Angry Birds, but that's probably the only app they actually do have. But things like Skype and WhatsApp and these big things that everyone knows and wants. Those are the sort of like a relatively small collection that you could go to the developer personally, directly, and say, I want this to happen. I'm going to drive it. I'm going to be the one getting this momentum going. But the ideal should be exactly that, and that this community gets built up, and then it's sort of people, the crowd taking the initiative, finding what they want, getting people together, putting like a request on the Palm Pledge site, and obligatory tweeting, Facebooking, etc., and then driving people and hopefully their money as well to it.
The obvious question, though, is what is Palm internally doing to support? I mean, they must have somebody thinking about this internally, saying, yeah, we need to work on this. We have some solution in mind. Have you checked with them to see?
I've been talking with people, the company, or not a company, a group of people called Build at WebOS, buildatwebos.com, and they're a sort of advocacy organization that, if people ask for help, developers ask for help, they will give the help. They will, send the dozens upon dozens of followers to them to do a very not a big Twitter bomb kind of thing. They basically do every component except for the component the developer might actually care about, which is, show me the money. And what they've been talking to Palm about is Palm is, working on something. They have, developer challenges where they just have, sort of a pot of money, and then whatever's the best selling or most wanted would get the money. And I view that not as a replacement or as a competitor. Hopefully we're not competing with Palm itself, but as a complement, a different strategy of getting these same apps that people really want.
I think the focus now for HP, because I have a friend that works at a company called Access, and I guess the focus is for HP now to port WebOS over to their tablet devices instead of being mobile as it stands right now. So would the market for that only be for this device at this time, like the as it was, a year ago?
No, I think that's a very good point, and that, again, I'm not a developer. I would have trouble dealing with AppleScript. So what I am the dreaded sort of business guy who goes and, takes whatever the press releases say about coding and says, oh, well, this is how you do it, so duh. I apologize to all you coders on behalf of all of us business people. Really, from what I can tell, though, at the last the WebOS 2.0 developer conference, they're working on some nice frameworks that enable, they really encourage scalability, from the hypothetical, the tablet to the smartphone to the printer, pencil, God knows whatever else they're going to put WebOS on. So I'm thinking and hoping and planning that, there is a very, strong set of programming thingies they have that would really make it easy for people to be simultaneously targeting both the tablet as well as the smartphones, both this existing one as well as new ones. I mean, on the iPad, iPhone, you have those I guess universal apps they call them, where you download it, it does one thing on the iPhone, does another thing on the iPad. So I think that's what HP and /Palm is going for.
Is there a because it's like with I think it's Kleiner did the iFund, which is like it's $100 million fund for any either iPhone or iPad apps.
Right.
And then there's also a BlackBerry fund, which I think is even more. Is there an equivalent like pre or even Palm platform fund that any VC shop has led?
Not that I know of, no. I mean, the thing is that I guess the market was never really big enough or flashy enough to warrant that kind of big, flashy VC thing, setting up a fund dedicated to it.
I mean, you might start there because honestly, a lot of those, particularly some of the VC funds, they're in a position where like it's gotten so cheap to fund a company that they actually can't even put enough money to work on any one deal. It's just like they need to be able to put a certain number in on each company, or otherwise it's not even worth their time to take the meeting.
Right.
Because it's like, I mean, it just the economics of how it works. So you might even start like just calling around and saying like, hey, if you guys ever thought about doing this? I mean, presumably somebody is interested in this, because considering now that HP owns it.
Right.
I mean, as long as HP is not putting it to sleep, which it doesn't sound like it is, as long as there's going to be a market for it going forward, you would think that at a certain point somebody would want to fund the opportunity for all these other apps to flourish.
Right. Right. No, that's absolutely true. I would totally agree. I don't think it's there yet.
Yeah.
At this point, I think the best source of at least what I can do from my perspective is try and build this community, this ability for the people to pay for the apps they want at the grassroots level. If I were to go to hedge funds or PE funds, stuff saying, hey, I don't have an MBA, I majored in nothing useful at all.
Yeah, I don't think they'd be the right market to be at.
Yeah,
Like those
I have a
things
large
would-
wad of money.
What about like
We're doing
Kickstarter?
pretty well in the bubble, but we're not that. There you go.
What about like Kickstarter? Kickstarter does sort of that.
No, that's
thing.
yeah, that's it. I've done
is actually-
Kickstarter, other
alright.
companies like that, because what I don't want to just have like a subcategory where it gets mixed in with this Palm app and then pay for Bob's concert, whatever. So what I'm trying to do is get basically a white label solution, which is where we take the underlying technology and put it on our own website, giving them the due credit, powered by Rocket Hub, powered by Kickstarter,
Right.
that sort of stuff. And in terms of revenue, I'm not in it to make money. I'm just in it for the cause of making my little pretty less useless, and of course the fame and glory doesn't hurt.
Awesome. Well, unfortunately, we're gonna have to cut it off there, 'cause that is time. But again, if you want to check out, if you want to follow up on this video will be online. Feel free to download it, put it on your blog, Facebook page, or any of those good things. Everybody else, feel free to get in touch
Desktop,
if you want to
wallpaper.
talk further. Yeah, thank you.